welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Abisola Olu-Ojo and I film about faith, family and lifestyle as a Nigerian mom living in Australia. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. This is the place to be, so make sure to subscribe, okay? If you are returning, thank you all so much for your support. It's so good to have you on here. In today's video, I want to share with you all how I got my first ever corporate job as an immigrant in Australia. I would also share some tips I believe helped me a lot to get my first job. So if you're interested, definitely keep watching. So quick background, guys. Back home in Nigeria, I had no working experience. I was running my own business, but when we moved here, slightly over 4 years ago, I had to find something else to do because running my own business was not giving me a sustainable income at the time. So I did a short course in disability support work, and the training lasted about 3 months. And in little or no time, I got my own job as a support worker. And I did that for about 16 months. But in my previous video, I would recommend that you watch that if you haven't. I mentioned that I did not enjoy being a healthcare worker. I did not like my job for that period. I was working in support work, but I had to because it was giving me a sensible source of income and it was paying my bills, so I stayed there. But because I knew that I didn't want to be a healthcare worker for too long, I decided to go back to school to help myself get a corporate job in Australia. Because back home in Nigeria, I didn't have any working experience. The only thing I had was my Youth Service Corps, NYSC, which is a training that Nigerians do right after you graduate from university. It prepares you to enter the job market, and we do that for 1 year. So that was the only working experience I had. I also had about a year working experience for a private telecoms company. So anyway, I didn't have strong work experience to help me get a job here in Australia. So what I did was I enrolled back to school. I went to TAFE. TAFE here in Australia is Technical and Further Education. They run a wide range of courses that enables you enter into the job market. Now, TAFE is something that most young Australians do, like a pre-degree before they get into uni. But when you go to TAFE, you can get a job really quickly. You don't have to go to uni here to get a job. If you go to TAFE, it's like comparing, it's like Polytechnic back in Nigeria, where you have an OND or a HND. So it's something very similar here. A lot of immigrants and international students also go to TAFE just to get a job quickly. They have courses ranging from beauty to construction to enrolled nursing to business administration, human resources, a very wide list of options you would get if you go to TAFE. So I did that. But before I went to TAFE, I was still working. I still had my support worker job, and it was a casual role. So what a casual role means here is that it's very flexible, and you will only pick hours. You only work shifts based on your own availability, as opposed to being a permanent staff. You get to choose if you want to be a permanent staff or if you want to be a casual worker. But at the time, because I knew that I had to be flexible, so spend some time at home with my kids and also be able to go to school, I chose to do a casual role, and that really helped me. So while I was working as a healthcare worker, I went to school. So I enrolled to do a certificate 4 in marketing and communications, because my degree back home in Nigeria was communications. But I believe that to give myself an advantage here and get a job here, it would only make sense to have Australian education as well as my Nigerian degree, just to give me an edge in the marketplace. So I enrolled myself into TAFE and I did the course for about 7 months. It was very tedious, very hectic, and it was like a crash course. You know, they teach you everything in the space of 7 months. And guys, while I was going to school, I still retained my job as a support worker just so I could work, pay my bills, pay my fees. It only made sense to not just quit that job because I didn't like it. It made sense to stay there and keep schooling. So like I said, it was a casual role and I was only picking shifts when it was convenient. Sometimes, guys, while I'm in class, I will leave class and go straight to work, or vice versa. I will leave work and go straight to class. So I was juggling both at the time, which, to be honest, was very difficult. But based on what your circumstances are, you can consider working and then schooling. I know so many people do that everywhere in the world, where you're trying to make ends meet as you make a way for things to get better in your life. That is what I did, guys. I had two young kids. I was schooling and I was working as well, just because there was a vision, there was somewhere I wanted to get to. Okay, so having completed my TAFE course in the space of 7 months, I began applying. And I won't say that I got the job immediately. I got a lot of rejections from so many companies that I applied to, but I did a few things. So we have some popular job websites in Australia. I would put a link to them in my description box. So there's many, there's some like seek.com, there's indeed.com, there's jura.com, and several others where you just, keep checking for job openings. Another good thing to do is create a profile on these websites, so I did that. I put up a profile, putting in my skills and the keywords, so I would get notifications whenever there was a job opening that was suited to what I had, what my interests were, basically. So I was applying everywhere, and I also learned to draft a strong resume and send my resume for professional review. I asked my friends who already had jobs in the country to send me their resumes so I could compare and just see what mine was like, and then send for review. And then I just kept applying, guys. A few people said not to use my real name. My real name is Abisola here. Some will suggest shortening my name so they won't think that I can't speak English, or just use an English name. The things you do in this country just to get a job, I'm sure it happens to many people everywhere in the world. But I had people suggesting that if I use my real name, they might assume that I don't know how to speak English. But yes, to be honest, at some point I shortened my name. So instead of putting Abisola, I would apply with Abi or with just Ola. Just make my name sound short and easy to pronounce. Yeah. You can consider doing that, whatever rocks your boat. If you think that would help, I believe in doing whatever you need to do when you need to do it. So there were times when I would apply with my full name, I won't get any, no one will contact me. But this particular job, I applied and I shortened my name and I got called. So I had a very strong resume and a very strong cover letter. And the first job that called me was the job where I didn't use my full name. Now, I'm not asking you to do that, but that's what happened with me. I don't know why. I don't want to contribute it to the fact that I shortened my name. I don't know, but yeah. I applied as Olu-Ojo, and that's the one I got called for. Now, guys, it's one thing to have a strong resume and to have a strong cover letter, but it's a different ball game when you go for an interview, and that's where I feel like a lot of Black people might struggle. To be honest, I struggled. I was very nervous. So let me backtrack a little bit. When I got the first phone call inviting me for an interview with this multinational, I did not believe it. When I applied, guys, I applied very passively. I didn't even think I'll get a phone call. But I believe very strongly that having that Australian education is what helped me. Let me also say that in my resume, I put in my my experience as a youth service corper, my NYC experience. I put that in my resume. I also put in my church work experience. I was a worker in church, working with children, doing some administrative stuff for the church. So I put that in my resume as well. I like to point out that what really counts most is when in your resume, you're able to put in strong keywords that suit the job description. Now, I didn't have any work experience, but I was able to fine-tune my resume such that it included what they were looking for in my resume. So the first job was I was a claims manager for an insurance company. So I made sure to put in those keywords around being able to work with people, around being customer service oriented. So I put all those keywords in my resume, and I think that also helped me. Aside having my Set 4 in marketing and communications from an Australian institution, I also had my Nigerian degree. But what I think helped me was having that Australian education, as well as using keywords in my resume, and also sending my resume out for professional review. These are the things I think really, really helped me, even though I didn't have any work experience per se, but being able to fine-tune my resume and make it strong with those keywords, I think played a major role in getting me that job. So when I got my first interview, guys, let me not lie, I was super nervous, but I chose to bring my best self forward. Now, in a really large company where during that interview, guys, I was the only Black person. Like I said, it's one thing to have a strong resume, it's one thing to have a strong cover letter, but no one would go with you to the interview. You have to be able to sell yourself. You have to be able to put your best self forward. Now, you might have somebody who may have helped you draft your resume, but nobody will take you to the interview. That one you do all by yourself, or you're on your own. You're all by yourself during an interview. So let me say that I was slightly passive aggressive. I was ready to give you my very best. So going for an interview, you get asked questions around your knowledge of the job role. That's why it's so key to read about the job role, go online, do your own little research and see how much you can gather about the organization you're going to interview with. So I did that. I took my time to do a thorough research. I even placed a phone call. That's something you can also do, guys. If you apply for a job, even before they contact you, you can make a phone call to the recruiters and ask a few questions. If you want to ask any questions, that's something that people do here, placing a cold call and just saying, oh, I applied for this job, I'm really interested. You know, just sell yourself over that phone call, because you never know who you might be speaking with and how they can actually help you during the employment process. So I made a phone call just to get more knowledge of the job role, and during my interview, guys, I was super ready. When I got there, I can never forget, I was the only Black person and they were interviewing about 35 people. Black Nigerian girl. I was starting to feel very uncomfortable in my environment, but I was telling myself that, babe, you know why you are here, so you have to give it your very best. You have to stay confident in yourself. And I'm like, God, I know who I am, daughter of a king. I was confessing on my inside, you know, and just trying to get myself to feel very comfortable. And during the interview, I did my best to answer the questions very articulately. And I also asked questions. That's one thing that you get advice to do every time. And I feel like when you ask your recruiters or your employers question, they see that you're interested in the role, you know, and that's something I think that most of them actually admire. So I prepared myself to also ask intelligent questions during my interview. And guys, I got the job. Summarily, that's how I got my job. Like I said earlier, having that Australian education really gave me an upper hand. And also being able to fine-tune my resume to suit the job role was something I know definitely helped me as well. But above all, being confident during the interview was the major one. I know that a lot of Africans who might be leaving their home countries and migrating to Australia, where you don't have so many people who look like you, and you might lose your confidence or doubt yourself, I would encourage you not to ever do that. If you know that you're worth it, if you know that you're qualified, you have to be confident. That's something that I did my best to make sure of during my interview. Okay, so I think those are the things that really helped me, and I just thought to share. My first show was about 18 months ago, and I've since then even changed roles. What I would just say is always bring your best self forward, never doubt yourself, and do what you can do to integrate into the system, trusting that things will get better. I just thought to share these tips, and I hope that they help you. Now, if you have no work experience at all, another good thing to do is consider using a recruitment agency. Now, even though they might make some money off you, they already seem to have like strong relationships with a lot of companies, so they might help you get into them quicker. So if you go to TAFE or you have work experience from Nigeria, you can consider using agencies like that. They might help you get jobs even quicker. If you eventually land an interview, prepare and be confident in yourself. Dress like you're there for business. In fact, just go and slay. Be the best dressed, be confident, speak articulately, ditch every nervousness at the entrance of the company. When you go in there, bring your best self forward and trust that everything will be just fine. I hope you have found this very helpful or useful. I will put out a few websites in my description box below. You can check them out. I would also put down any information you might find helpful in my description box. I hope you've enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching to the very end. If you have any questions you might want to ask me, please let me know down in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to reply you or do videos that are related to your questions. So let me know down there what you think, what you've learned, any questions you may have. If you've enjoyed my video to the very end, please make sure to click the like button. Make sure to subscribe. You really want to, because I'll be dishing out very helpful and informative videos subsequently. So make sure to stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.